Okay, for week 15 Tuesday, we're just going to do something short today since it's our last day before break. First, we'll watch the Cyclops clip if people had not already viewed it, which I suspect probably some people may not have. And let's see, we'll just take care of this poem. Yeah, I think that's all we got going on. So the poem is called The Cyclops in the Ocean. And it's not often that you find poems about Cyclops. So, of course, had to do it. Nikki Giovanni, you may remember this name. We talked about a poem that she wrote earlier this year called I'm Not Lonely. So this is a very different type of poem called The Cyclops in the Ocean. Okay, so I will read it and see if you can figure out what the Cyclops in the ocean is. It is a metaphor for something. She is not talking about a literal one-eyed monster coming through the water. Moving slowly against time, patiently majestic, the Cyclops in the ocean meets no Ulysses. Through the night he sighs, throbbing against the shore, declaring for the adventure. A wall of gray, gathered by a slow touch, slash and slither through the waiting screens, separating into nodules, making my pains accept the touch. Not content to watch my frightened gaze, he clambers beneath the sash, dancing to my sill, certain to die when the sun returns. Okay, so let's look for some clues here. What is the Cyclops in the ocean? So whatever it is, it moves very slow. So like the Cyclops, it is not a quick mover. It is indeed in the ocean, whatever this Cyclops is, whatever this creature is. Let's see, it comes up against the shore. It is a wall of gray. So color-wise, it is gray. Let's see. It's coming through the screen on the house. So it is approaching a house, coming through the screen. Interesting there. Let's see. Again, it's near the sash. It's near the sill, outside the house. And though Ulysses, which was the Roman name for Odysseus, does not stop it, the sun does. So what sort of thing could we compare to a Cyclops? It moves slowly. It moves through the ocean, comes up against the shore. It is gray. It can come through screens in a house, and sunlight kills it. So, if you're guessing like mythical beasts right now, you're on the wrong track. The Cyclops in the Ocean was written by Nikki Giovanni about a very specific natural phenomenon. So this is something we have in our world, something that we've had this year, something that we have even been out of school for before, and it has a decent bit in common with a Cyclops. It is a hurricane. So, the Cyclops in the ocean, moving slowly through the ocean, all gray and coming through screens. And of course, sunlight kills it because sunlight is, the opposite of the rain and the storm. It is a hurricane. So now that we know we're talking about a hurricane here, think about what else a Cyclops and a hurricane have in common. So first thing usually people say is their effects. Hurricanes destroy things. They kill people. Cyclops definitely does the same. Cyclops is big. It is much, much larger than a normal human. And hurricanes are ginormous storms, many, many miles wide. So they both have an awesome size. And then, of course, finally, you may have already thought of this, but as you may know, a hurricane has a phenomena called the eye of the storm. All right. So just like a cyclops, it has one eye. Okay, hope you appreciated that pun there. The eye of the storm in a hurricane is the kind of vulnerable part of the storm. It's the center of the storm where nothing is happening. And man, once Odysseus was done with that Cyclops, there wasn't anything happening in that Cyclops' eye either. So, Nikki Giovanni's comparison is definitely accurate. A hurricane is similar to a Cyclops in many, many ways. So that is the poem. It's short, it's sweet, but it does have some really interesting things going on in it. So I'm going to turn to the questions real quick so I can explain a few and get you guys to start thinking. I'll try and let you think a little bit more independently this time instead of me walking through all the answers. Okay, so first off, in this first question, sometimes I'll just get the question like, what do you mean? Like I guess the question maybe is a little tricky to understand. So if the Cyclops in the Odyssey had not met Odysseus, what would the Cyclops' future have looked like? That's essentially what I'm asking there. Number 2 and number 3, we've pretty much just discussed, talking about the metaphor, the comparison, and what similarities make that appropriate. What kind of qualities does the reference to the Odyssey imply about the tropical storm? So what kind of qualities are we giving the storm by comparing it to a Cyclops? Because even though they have a lot in common, a Cyclops is different in some ways. So what are we kind of implying about the storm by saying it is like a Cyclops? It's not just any old natural phenomena. It is a Cyclops of a storm. Okay, for number 4, what is the function of the ellipses? Now, the ellipses is these 3 dots here. And if you look in the poem, there are ellipses all over the place. Dot, 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 dot. I mean, everywhere. So I'm just asking, what's the purpose of that? Why did Nikki Giovanni put those in? What does it do to the poem that we have those in there? What kind of effect does it have? What's the point, basically? At number 5, I've kind of already talked about these different words and kind of what they imply about the location of the speaker and the location of the storm. Number 6, most people have told me that they have covered onomatopoeia before in other classes, but it is a word that describes sound words like bang, boom, vroom, those sorts of things. And then once you find those sound words, what do those sounds kind of suggest about the storm? Okay, so there's your questions. Last mission before Thanksgiving, well-deserved break. And that's all I have to say about that.